ZP and I are going to take this one over. See, yeah, no doubt. All right. Well, ZP, here we go. Dallas Fuel versus the San Francisco Shock. This is a matchup I think a lot of people have been looking forward to. Two great teams right now. Played a very close series earlier in the Countdown Cup. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a great match.
I'm looking forward to it because I think it's very symbolic. I think you've had Dallas Fuel be the kings of the regular season, but now it's time for the true kings of the postseason to arise. I'm actually very bullish on the San Francisco Shock going forward. I think that they're going to have an amazing showing in the Countdown Cup, and maybe I've just cursed them now to hell and back. Who knows? But I do think this is going to be a very good series for the Shock, and I think that they'll finally hit their playoff stride.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it a lot every season, right? Where there's regular season teams like NYXL in a lot of seasons, and there's playoff teams like Seoul Dynasty or, San Francisco, obviously. So, we'll see if any of that starts to emerge today. But I think no matter how it is, we're not going to get a 3-0. I think this is also going to be a close series. And there's so many good players to look forward to on this one as well. And, of course, the question is, will we see Pine?
Well, about that, I've heard that, looking into it, looking at the starting roster, Doa, we might be seeing something people have really looked forward to for a very long time.
No.
That's right.
Could it be one of the greatest DPS players in the history of Overwatch?
It's one of those things where it's like, could they be talking about that thing? Could that thing really be happening? Well,
I mean, is the hype that's building right now leading to what people are expecting? We'll find out in a minute as we see the rosters, and the answer is no! That's right, it's the same old DPS we've seen all season. It's Sparkle and Doha. That's right. Maybe we'll get Pine later, but for now it's just a regular old Dallas Fuel roster. But hey, there's nothing regular or really even old, I guess, about this roster. They've been very good all season long. They did win 3-2 against San Francisco last time they played, and they're ready to have a strong showing to kick off what is kind of getting to be the end of the season here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this makes sense. I mean, I know there's a lot of talk in the air about going, do the Fuel really want to go to Hawaii? How hard are they playing? I mean, yeah, I don't think they're going full maximum or anything, but I do think they want to put their best look forward. Whether or not that includes Pine remains to be seen, but we do know that this particular lineup, Doha, is the lineup that has gotten them as far as they've gotten. So it's still a very good choice. And also, as the desk mentioned, they've had some weeks off. They've had some time to try new looks. And, the Fuel might be settling on a different approach to meta than perhaps what we've seen here so far. So I'm excited to see what the Fuel looks like here, even if they've earned the right to take it a little bit easier.
Sure enough. Well, on the other side of things, a team that has everything pretty locked in as far as the postseason goes, but still wouldn't mind a trip to Hawaii to win a little bit more cash, win a little bit more prestige. It is the San Francisco Shock, starting with a roster that, maybe surprises people a little bit, as we do have Super in early. They usually do put him in from time to time, but I'm trying to remember the last time I saw him in for a control map. I feel like it's been a little while.
Usually it's
the first map anyway.
Yeah, usually it's Smurfing first. I mean, Super, as the community sometimes knows him, he's the finisher, but sometimes you finish early, I suppose. Super gonna be in first. But it's hard to figure out the rhyme or reason as to why the Shock change up tanks at points, but we'll see how it goes.
Yep, that's right. Clearly Shock feeling confident coming into this one as well. And I do think we're going to see teams try a few things here and there. Of course, whoever does win this series goes on to face the LA Gladiators a little bit later in the day, too. So, maybe it's a situation where you kind of want to rest the players that you're thinking you're going to really need to count down if you make it to that match a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think whoever wins this going against Gladiators is probably going to be the match of the day. I think the Reign are pretty heavily favored against Toronto, even though I do think there's upset potential there just because Pelican might not be playing. But either way, Doha, that's the future. I like to be myopic and focus on the now as we head into Oasis.
That's right. Now is exactly when we're going to get this series started with our control map. It will be Oasis. Dallas Fuel versus San Francisco Shock. And this is going to be, like I said, I guarantee you, this one will be a fantastic series. The talent level ZP is just too great.
Yeah, I think mechanically it's going to be a show. All these players are looking very, very good. And I think the story on the Shock that has been most impressive to me, there's two stories actually, which is why I do think the Shock, this could be their tournament to ascend back to previous form. Number one is that I think Nero has looked incredibly good, grinding out his Tracer play to higher echelons, and also playing a really good Torb at the same point. Meanwhile, you look at Twilight, where Twilight has had to come in, where usually the Shock ran more Lucio comps with FD Gun lineup, but Twilight's come in and has had an absolutely incredible BAP, not just on the healing end, but also great offensive pickoffs at all times. So I think Twilight's emergence as a very, very strong BAP force for Shock in this tournament has been a very welcome surprise to the Shock.
I mean, Twilight, even if you go back to his time in Korea before he even joined the Overwatch League, was one of the better aimers at the support role. So no surprise at all to see him getting better and better on this Baptiste. He was a great Ana for a long time. One of my favorite players for quite a while before he got into Overwatch League, so good to see him doing well. The tussle begins. Violet goes down early, though.
The tussle perhaps ends, but okay, Fielder takes on Violet, pays for the flank from there, who goes immediately on him, and Sparkle returning the favor. A very bloody and furious first fight. Both teams trading haymakers. Sparkle and Nero, though, still around. It's the Tracers telling the tale. The Shock, though, more presence on the point when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Wow, tries to go in for that last melee. Can't quite do it. Choyobin, though, with the reset, perhaps, as he wants to get back to his team a little bit later. Finally, San Francisco are able to claim the point.
That was actually big. Fuel could have denied that a little bit longer.
I feel like they
Sparkle was prioritizing life, yeah. Well, losing first control in City Center could come back to haunt you. Meanwhile, though, Shock getting dove. Sparkle, a quick pulse bomb and a quicker blow up. Super out of the fight early. However, it gets traded for Honbin at the same time. Nero and Sparkle are just devastating their counterparts' teams. Hans, though, coming alive down the creep. And on the side, Sparkle gets Twilight. Hans looking for a key shot. Had Sparkle in the sights. Under pressure, has to go. Now Sparkle turned his attention over the Ons. Ball in his face. Nero, though, finds Sparkle on the other side. This is absolutely frantic.
Yeah, that's right. Fielder goes down as well, so it's all clean up now for the Shock as they have pretty much guaranteed themselves a good amount of percentage on this first hold, no matter what happens from here on out. What do you think about the Super Reinhardt pick on this one?
I mean, honestly, I'm not in love with the Reinhardt. I don't think a whole lot of people are loving the Reinhardt, but if anyone can make it work, it's Super. It's a hero he's very comfortable on. It's a hero that you'll still find good value on between Fire Strikes and Shatter when it comes online. I don't think it's conventional, but so far the Shock have been making it work. However, Fielder, again, just terrorizing Violet, finds him again. This time, lives after a bouncing Deadeye, a trampoline cowboy off to the side. Doesn't really amount to much,
kills out of that one, though.
Fun.
It was always fun. I always go for that whenever I'm playing McCree on this map, every single time, no matter what is going on. Hanbin does find the kill onto Ons, though, and so Dallas Fuel still trying to find a way into this with the EMP. They should be able to get it. Super on the run there. They do have the Immortality field, but everyone off the point at the moment.
Oh, Shatter in! Fielder goes to the ground. He had Transcendence. He couldn't get the Transcendence off as a result.
That's
2
huge.
kills more for the Shock, and the Shock are keeping this in contest. This is why giving up the first point early was such a blunder for the Fuel, because the Shock have just been able to continually contest. Now at 95%, Fuel are running out of time. Fielder's just going to have to transcend and hope for the best in a moment. 99%. And let's see where the pressure lies.
They can re-engage. They've got Fearless on the ball. They've got the Diva coming in as well. Hanbin is right there. Sparkle with his stick, though, onto Ons. Immediately gets the 6v5 for Dallas. Now they just got to close out the fight and take the point.
That was dirty from Sparkle. The long-range blink, recall, bomb, and done. Transcendence in from Fielder as the Fuel try and pressure the Shock. The Shock, though, still pretty healthy. A rally on point. However, 3 immediately falling. Hobbit and Sparkle hitting the right points at the right time. And the Fuel finally get their first control.
Just like that, the Dallas Fuel with a very good engage to win that fight and flip the point. Good start with the kill onto Ons. And the follow-up. Transcendence, just letting everyone walk forward and able to kind of overwhelm the San Francisco Shock without any sort of worry about the crowd control from the flashbang or anything like that. We have Nero swapping to the Torbjorn. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be an EMP coming from Doha here. So the Shock, though, have a big advantage initiation. They can open up the rally, they have the window, and they get Fearless!
Wow.
Fearless couldn't get away. Now they get the 6-on-5, and Doha has to look for the miracle EMP here. Enough to let them win. Down stunned!
They got him.
Oh my! Ons, the absolute legend. In fact, no, it was Ons. It was Violet that got the stun. Ons got the flashbang on the Sparkle.
Right.
Oh boy.
Wow. Talk about being ready. They denied that EMP. Super has the Earth Shadow loaded up. Oh, he got stunned during the animation, though. Oh, lots of really clutch stuns happening in the last remnants of this one. 99% though for Shock. Can they close it out?
Doa, no ults, only honest Overwatch. Ults are cheat. Sparkle, pulse bomb, dances away his super. A little bit of twinkle toes there, out to the side. Fielder, transcendence in. And now the Fuel back up to 6, pretty healthy. Super goes down. Ons has a dead eye in the back. The Immortality Field's already been forced out. The Shock in danger right now. Looking for where to stay in the fight. Still have point to give though, if nothing else. Narrow though, under pressure, down.
Oh.
Choi though, trades out. The trade's unreal on both sides with the Shock getting the better of it. Choi, the bomb, ready to fly. Throws up to the side. Already gets 2 before the bomb comes down. Sparkle though, bomb, surely not enough at this point.
That's right. Hard fought, but San Francisco Shock claims the first point here on Oasis. That was the kind of Overwatch I like to see, ZB. That was some strong performances on both sides.
I would like to use ultimate abilities. No. Just no. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's safe to say the last series was entertaining. It was fun. But what we're seeing right now is simply a higher tier of Overwatch. Mechanical skill at the highest levels, clutch plays from both sides, but it's a Shock that edge out ahead.
That's right. Guarantee you, like I said, it's going to be a close series. And we might get the Sparkle Doomfist here. Second point here on Gardens. And they're going to stick with the Symmetra as well on the Dallas Fuel side.
Yeah, and I mean, the Symmetra isn't bad during the beginning. You get the earlier engage in terms of teleporter. The turrets can be a little bit of a problem on entry. A lot of sneaky places to put them. But also, here's the big gun. It's Sparkle in the back on the Doom. He's stunned and he's dead.
Though. Yeah, that's exactly what Hans needs to do. They were so ready for that engage, and you know the abilities just didn't connect for Sparkle, so he didn't get a lot of that extra shielding that you kind of rely on with Doomfist when you go in. That said, San Francisco Shock still picking up a good amount of kills here. It is pretty back and forth, but Shock manages to weather the storm a bit.
And that's just the incredible game sense coming in there from the Shock to deal with the Doomfist. Now, the one thing I don't like, On's swapping over to the Hangzhou here, where the McCree was actually incredibly impactful, just denying the Doomfist his way in.
I'm a bit surprised.
So,
yeah,
losing the utility of Flashbang is a problem, but we'll see if it pans out. Certainly, if anyone can make the Hangzhou work, it's Ons. Oh,
bye.
The teleport.
See ya.
Oh,
Smash
that was
Brothers
so
now.
good from Sparkle. In and gone. However, Nero!
Oh, Nero.
The trades continue. There's more trading in the series than the stock market, Doa, as both teams put on a show.
I think stock in both these teams should be going up after this one. Hanbin does get the kill onto Super here, so the Dallas Fuel still struggling to turn this point around. Maybe with Nero dropping, they've finally done it. They do. 46% for the Shock. Good start there, but Dallas in control now.
Well, if they were trading, the Dallas stocks just went up. However, we'll see how long they can hold. The Shock, both support ults online here. However, the Fuel about to have the same, and very pivotal fight coming up.
Yep. Hanbin needs a good grab here. Shoyubin. Oh, what? What? They just walk up and take it. Shock flips the point without even a fight.
The Fuel were just respecting the window, perhaps a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Hanbin, though, waiting for the grab, drops a grab. Is fall through going to be there? They're looking. Sparkle, killing it Violet, and kill feed starting to fill up with white. As Sparkle just dancing over to the back. Oh, he's going for it. This carries low HP. I fight back. I win.
Yep. You don't want to be in a small enclosed space with a Doomfist. That's for sure. A lot of walls to get bounced off of, and Dallas Fuel just take it back. All right.
Also, Nero just face planted into a sim warp there. Doha spams it, just opens his third eye. Odds though, okay. Gets the pick on the Jexa. And this is where the Shock can immediately put on more pressure. Shatter! Coming in from Fearless, puts 2 to ground. Twilight though, able to get back up, drops the Immortality Field just in case. No one tell Fearless, he's a swing of the hammer, and Doha just walks up on the sim, beams down another, Sparkle on the artillery support. Choi though, gets 2, and again, the trading continues. Doha though, so charged up, his sim has been huge.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be Doha with the cleanup again, and Dallas Fuel will be able to keep the percentage going. They've got the wall soon, but man, this has been a real brawl here at the end of this round.
this has been hectic. Neither team has really been able to have decisive fights. Anytime a great play happens, the other team responds in turn. This time, though, the Fuel opened with the window. Odds gets caught early. Jexa not really wanting to deal with that. Nero, meanwhile, Pulse Bomb, good to go. Looking for Ryan. Joy able to help finish it. The Shock coming in hot. A bit of an edge here. Shooting through the window is Nero. Pulse Bomb still ready. Looking for Sparkle, who's just destroying the supports. And as Nero goes, maybe I don't want to go after that. Not now.
Yeah, I think give it a bit of time. That's it. Nero decides to just maybe try to sneak the point.
They're going to get it. They was
oh my gosh, he flipped it.
Yeah.
Wow. Able to get the flip. Dallas not able to contest that.
Yeah, Dallas was quite a bit of ways away. However,
I guess
they come back in. They have the Graviton, they have the rally. A teleport to the side. Hanbin, Sparkle strikes again! We're watching the main fight, but Sparkle got to the back. The swap back to McCree is enough to stop Sparkle. Finally, he goes down. Onso gets fearless. It's not over yet. Hanbin has to drop the Grav lane to the fight. Trying to turn it back around. The trades come out once more, and it's Hanbin, though. Still alive. 1 HP in a dream. Nero finally gets him.
San Francisco, though. Yep.
They hold on.
San Francisco Shock. They do hold on. They take the map in a 2-0 fashion. So despite some pretty brilliant stuff from Dallas Fuel, Shock able to get the win there.
Probably one of the most entertaining control maps I've seen in a long time, Doa, where
not bad.
Both teams looked really, really good. The Shock just a little bit ahead, and oh man, this doomed play from Sparkle was unreal. I don't know if that was on screen because it's play the game on our side, but oof, the teleport punch.
We saw it when it happened, ZP. Yeah, that was some pretty great Doomfist play from Sparkle, but again, just not quite enough. Even though that was a 2-0 for San Francisco Shock, that was still a pretty close map overall. Yeah. I know we are in for a fun series. It's going to be cool. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will see if the Dallas Fuel can tie things up. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League returns right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Hey, guess what? It's time to crown the MVP of the 2021 season. You, the fans, get to help decide who takes the title home this year. Head to overwatchleague.com/MVP to see the candidates and learn how you can cast your vote. Who's your vote for MVP this season, CB?
It's tough. If it was the first half of the season, I'd go Fearless. Nowadays, I'm looking more towards Leave. I'm looking more towards Shu. It's difficult. It's a really good class of MVP candidates.
It is, yeah. And I believe we've got 3 of them on the screen right now. There's multiples from these teams.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Shu myself as well, but, you know, I've got that support bias.
Yeah, it's true.
I
also think it's difficult to get a support, but man, if anyone should get it, the way Shu's been playing recently, just absolutely out of his mind.
Yeah, he wouldn't be the first support MVP, but
no.
First in a bit. Smurf subbing in for Super. And we are going to Temple of Anubis for our next map. That was the choice by Dallas Fuel. Remember, we're doing these matches tournament style, so the loser of the map gets to pick the next one.
Yep, and again, the Shock do the somewhat hard to decipher tank swaps. I guess one thing you'll say of Smurf's in, it might not be as much Ryan, even though we have seen Smurf on Ryan in recent times, so you can't even really break it down by hero as much as just, look, sometimes teams get into these sorts of situations. It's another Repel Raucous scenario, I suppose.
Sure, and I think it's good to try things as well at this point in the season. Obviously, you want that trip to Hawaii, you want to get to the Countdown Cup tournament, but you're also thinking ahead to playoffs. Overall season playoffs are looming, and whatever in-game experience you can give to players in scenarios you might think you want to follow in the postseason is good to do.
It really is. Now, this is interesting for the Fuel, where they might be coming out with the defensive Pharah, and since it's defense, it's less likely to be a bait. So, defensive Pharah definitely can work. It comes with some degree of risk. Meanwhile, for the Shock, Ons is showing Widow, which oftentimes we'll just use Widow at the beginning, then swap off. But
yeah,
we'll see what the offense consists of here, and if the Shock can adapt around this defensive Pharah.
Yeah, On's already swapping. I think it's fine to do Widow for the first couple seconds to see if you can get like an early Pharah pick on the other side, but if you don't think that's in the cards, you swap right away, so it will be the Sombra for Ons.
Now note the Sombra Tracer usually has some trouble against the Pharah, but in this situation, it is a little bit easier to get a decent hack onto the Pharah. Still, though, not always the easiest task on the whole. So the Shock right now are just going to be looking for a decent setup while dodging the rockets of Sparkle. They'll be raining in.
Now right now, Shock waiting for Ons to make his play here. He's snuck into the back line. You can see he's got the translocator there. And he's waiting for an opportunity to get a crucial hack. The Diva would be a good choice. He's going to go ahead and go for it. Doesn't get anyone quite yet. Okay. Oh, he doesn't get the hack. Has to get out. San Francisco's still going to go anyway. How much can they really get done here? Yep.
Just hang on to the point. Right now, they're playing a little bit of Ignore the Fire, a little bit of pressure from Choi. Smurf, though, gets slept, had the nano on him, and meanwhile, Choi's just getting beaten down, rocket from rocket. Smurf, though, woken up. Sparkle gets found. However, the Fuel overall still pretty solid defense. However, Choi finding Jexa, making it a lot more even, where again, trading continuing within the series, and that does favor the offense to a degree if the Shock can get at least one more.
I guess a little bit. I think the stalls on Choyobin and some of those other kills are going to hold Shock back from being aggressive enough to be dangerous for the Dallas Fuel to deal with. But, taking the Mercy definitely one of the crucial components of trying to win this one. And Ons, you can see he's really trying hard to get that hack on the Pharah. Or the Mercy. He'll take either one. Yep.
Quick EMP from
Doha. 7 HP. Yep.
Yep. And Smurf and Choi simply cannot sustain. It's a great tank-busting EMP. And the Fuel don't have to do anything more. I'm happy that the Fuel aren't going crazy and ultra diving in. Just maintain here at the choke point, make the Shock come to you. And now for the Shock, a lot of it is really going to depend on, can Ons find a good EMP?
Yeah. And you can just see Hanbin like continuously firing through that doorway, trying to make sure he catches Ons as he goes through. Well, so tough though. Oh, Hanbin with the kill on the Nero though, probably finishing off a little bit of damage from maybe a Fire Rocket or something like that, but that's going to slow the Shock down.
Yeah, I mean, On just has to sit there and be like, I guess I'd be invisible on point for a little bit longer because, if you're going for the EMP engage, you want to be up at full strength. So now they wait, they drop the EMP, and wait, it didn't hit anything.
What?
The EMP actually,
I was gonna say.
it was nothing. It was full memp in the flesh.
I'm kind of surprised. Smurf down early though, so a rough start for the Shock, and Fearless just going insane on this Primal Rage. Nano Boost gives him the power to get the double kill. Can't get through the window, but that's okay because he's a huge, dangerous ape scientist.
Yeah. If you had a checklist of everything that could go wrong for a team fight, let me tell you, everything got hit there by the Shock. I mean, they hit every branch
Seriously.
on their fall down to oblivion. Now they go for far before. Oh, well.
Oh,
You almost
had his ult back too. Yeah, that's. There's the res, but now you're without a res for a little while. It hurts a bit.
Well, now the Shock are just hoping that the Far Farah is going to be more up their alley. The problem is that Doha can strip the wings, moves over, drops a Deadeye, hits the Farah Mercy combo in full. Violet nowhere to go, and Hanbin's been the one feasting on all the setup here. It's been Hanbin, just leading the charge as a front line for the Fuel. Bomb v bomb. Hanbin going to be rebacking.
Yeah, Hanbin's been the executioner here, but San Francisco in a position to maybe finally take this point. Dallas Fuel on the back foot.
Meanwhile, a little bit more momentum off the Farah Mercy here.
Can they contest?
Shock. Rotate back over to the point with it. Waiting. A little bit of pressure into the top. And this is where you keep point presence as a key note. You don't want to pull a Paris Eternal from earlier today. Sparkle, meanwhile, the barrage, ready to go. Getting pocketed all the while. Shock, they're back up to full. They have the EMP in reserve. Fearless is down. Do they drop the EMP or do they risk depth with the barrage? Sparkle waits. He waits some more. The Nano comes out. He's looking, doesn't get the last rocket. Still holds on to the barrage and holds it no longer. The fight is over.
Wow, it was just, I was on the edge of my seat waiting for Sparkle to use that barrage, and you just never felt like he found an opportunity to do it. You know, if he had, that could have been a holdable point for Dallas, and you know, maybe you full hold San Francisco Shock then, but that was not the case, and now Sparkle swaps anyway. That's the thing. All right, EMP comes through. San Francisco, good start with the kill on the Jexa.
Yeah, this is a really good start for the Shock thus far. Get both the Mercy and the Diva out of the way. A little bit of pressure on the far. Looks at Fearless in the face, and Fearless is mad. Not something that you're going to be able to finish off just yet. And getting pummeled around the back. The Nano comes in. The Shock, though, still can win this. They still have enough alive. The Fuel have yet to inflict critical damage just yet. They're looking for Smurf. Smurf's able to back out. Meanwhile, Choi hanging on to the bomb in reserve. The Shock just posturing in the back here, Doha, and they're actually going to slow it down a bit.
Yeah, you've got a pretty small time bank to work with here, so you really need to get something going. Doha in the back with the EMP, finds the Ana, trying to secure the kill, does it with a bit of help from Fearless. Now Sparkle diving in as well. Good attack from Dallas, really crisp in terms of just pushing the Shock right back to spawn.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive engage from Dallas there was really good, where they didn't let the snowball get out of control, and now we're going to be seeing some swaps here where Nero going to be deciding to go, all right, it's time, going off to the Torb McCree, something a little bit slower with the Reinhardt, but they don't really have that much time to give here, Doha. 1 minute, 27 seconds, nearly one fight territory.
Yep, that's right. Shock was able to barely accomplish their mission on point A. See if Doha now on the Doomfist. Ooh. All right. Sparkle down after Nero is able to use the Immortality Field with the rest of Shock to avoid some of that damage. Jexa. Oh, okay. This is huge. Looking good for Shock. Good start.
It's looking very good. Now, they lose the Torb in the entry, so being down one is never great for 2CP, but they have an opportunity. 1 minute left to go. It'd be great if they could get a stagger. They do. Doha out of the fight. Ons now. A little bit of room to work with. On to the right. No one's looking at him. That's dangerous spot for McCree. Wow. Finds Fearless. Moving on in. Ons now in a great spot. Lands another. Over the top. Deadeye soon to be ready. Self-destruct up. Doesn't connect. And the Shock have just about done it.
Zoning high noon. Help finish off Doha a little bit. Gets knocked away from the point, but Shock, if they can handle these respawns, they can get this done with a little bit of time on the clock yet. It's going to be very close, though. That was Sparkle down. Oh, no, now the Diva's there. Hanbin is buying a lot of time for his team. Can they push this to OT? No, they can't. Close.
It would have been, it would have been huge if they got to OT. Also, did you see or hear what I heard there, where it looked like the observer cameras got desynced by half a second? I swear I heard McCree say draw twice. It was like, draw.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's possible. The wonders of technology and remote casting. But either way, San Francisco Shock, 13 seconds in the time bank. They get it done before OT. Pretty important. How's the defense going to look, though?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That much is for sure. I will say the Shock had a pretty good recovery after what was a very, very tough opening round where they nearly got full held, where again the Fuel were operating on all cylinders, particularly Hanbin just really feasting, almost set up by the Far Mercy, almost set up by the generally really good support play. But we'll see what the Shock have in store for their defense, where it's not going to be a far for their defense, instead going for something a little bit more static with more pressure onto the Pharah.
Yep. I think it's a good plan. I think Ans has shown he's been quite proficient on the McCree thus far. And having that ability to do some damage to the airborne Pharah and also have the stun ready for any sort of dives that might come at your back line. I mean, it's just a great hero. I mean, what can you say? It's just useful in so many different scenarios if you've got someone that can play it well.
3, 2, 1.
All right. So the Fuel charging out of spawn. It's going to be Sparkle onto Pharah. Doha looking for anything on the Hangzhou. Shock, meanwhile, more than willing to slow things down just a bit. Joy right now hanging off to the side, and the Fuel taking their time, Doha, and deciding, okay, how do we really want to approach this?
Yep. I was going to say, a little bit of a swap going on. Over to Tracer, Sombra, and Jexai swapping to the Brigida. So Dallas Fuel not liking what they're seeing, going back and making a couple changes real quick. It does reset the ult economy for some of those heroes, but if it ends up being a better matchup, it'll be worth it.
Hack onto the back here from Doha. Doha just going to hop over the top.
That was tricky. That was sneaky. Yeah.
The important thing to look at here is the Fuel are posturing. They've built a nano. However, a minute already off the clock. And it's poked a little bit too much. Sparkle from behind takes him down. Here comes Nano Fearless. He just gets
doing
walked
so much
forward.
Damage back line. A little hop out of Twilight. You do not want to be trapped in there with a Winston. And it is just shooting fish in a barrel for the Dallas Fuel here. It's going to be an easy point A take.
Yeah, I really liked also the coordination with Fuel there between just a little bit of poke on the Ons and Sparkle coming in to finish the rest. And then the Nano, well-timed, catch a shock in a room with nowhere to go. So the Fuel working with a much greater time bank as they go into point B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit of a mountain to climb for Shock if they want to try to equalize the time banks between the two teams, or even full hold. Well over 5 minutes in the time bank now. Dallas Fuel with all the time in the world, seemingly. Just very close to a couple ultimates here. Wow, Ons just wants to buy time.
Time, something that Shock needs to buy a lot of right now. Going on the trading, they're a little bit down at the moment. Hoping for some gains later in the series.
Okay, EMP. Yeah, onto a lot of people from San Francisco. Can Dallas capitalize on this? There's a stick.
From Sparkle.
Oh, he does get on. Okay.
The problem is it's so late into fight that it doesn't really matter. The Fuel are going to have to wait for respawns anyway, so it's like you've done a pulse bomb, but it's a very little impact.
Swap. I wonder if we're going to see Sparkle switch it up, going all the way back to spawn here. Maybe not. Still on the Tracer for the moment. Yeah, I guess so. All right. I was going to be surprised, but the way he was heading back seemed like more than a regroup. But still on the Tracer for now. Meanwhile, Shock on the defense. Oh, that helps. That is a pretty nice start. Fearless dives in with an Anubis. They've committed now. Gets flashbanged immediately. Does force some people back to spawn, though.
Yeah, Onzo finds Doha in the interim, so the Fuel don't really get too much off that. I mean, it looked a little bit intimidating, but it wasn't something for Fearless to pop Primal on, and now 4 minutes left for the Fuel. Still an immense amount of time, but the Shock, they're starting to chip away at it, Doha.
Yeah, now the swap comes in. I was wondering about that. Sparkle does swap to the Genji, which is going to be interesting if they can get the Nano Blade up and running. It's certainly the type of combo that can win a team fight decisively enough to take the point before respawns come back in a big way.
Slow deflect there. But here we go, Nero moving in, drops the multi-core everywhere, and it looks like lava because it is. It's Smurf going, when you like to play in the lava, a little bit of bouncy bounce into the side room. No eliminations though just yet. The Fuel doing a great job of rotating out. Stealing the turret, Sparkle and Doha a little bit low. Nero though finds Jexa. Choi on the Sparkle, and the Spark, or the Shock, slow it down just enough.
Yep. Shock hold again for now, and that's 2 minutes down. So it seems like it's been a long hold already for the Shock, but really it's only about a little less than half of the total time that they need to keep Dallas Fuel from taking the point. Still nearly 2:45 left on the clock.
Yeah, the biggest problem here for the Shock is that their first defense was pretty pitiful, so the Fuel have a lot of time to play with here still. And the big challenge here is playing around the EMP. It's what the Fuel will be basing their entire attack on. Quick manual.
All right, big anti-heal on Dallas as they try to engage here. Twilight hit a great grenade, as we saw from the life bars up top. Worn off now, though, so now Doha needs to find that big EMP.
Doha is waiting right now. The Shock are doing a great job just playing split. The number one thing they're looking to not give up is the huge EMP. That's why they're as split as they are. That's also why the Fuel are waiting, because the Fuel are going, can we get the big EMP? It's this big chess game between both teams. Oh no, Fearless! He just went to the back, nearly dead. He's in!
Oh no!
Man, I wasn't gonna save him. He just got trapped between a Brigida and a hard place. Oh boy.
Yeah. And that nano boost is one you're definitely going to want back, especially now that Sparkle has his Dragon Blade. You know, I thought for sure they were going to go for the Nano Blade. I mean, why else would you have the Genji swap? But then when it came down to it, they still put it onto Fearless, and it didn't pay off. Oh, the hammer kill on Hodman right as he was about to remake. That is a bit of swagger from the Torbjorn there.
Nero gives it that little smirk at the end, too. He knew what he did.
He would have died, too, if that hadn't worked out. He was about to be crushed by, like, a 5-ton mech.
Sometimes you put all on the line for the meme.
I guess so.
You know, it's not a meme, though. The fact that the Fuel might have an EMP, but the Shock are loaded for the next fight. The Fuel need an absolutely picture-perfect engage, and EMP and a Naked Blade might not be it. Oh! What? Okay. Well, meanwhile, Sparkle used Slade.
That is superhuman response time from Twilight, by the way. And yeah, Sparkle's blade doesn't appear to have gotten anything.
Look, you can put on Sparkle's dating profile, hates turrets heavily, use the blade just to kill the turret. Oh my god! Smurf into the back, just trounces the support line of the Fuel. 45 seconds left to go, and this is looking like a hold on B if I've ever seen one.
It does look like that. I wouldn't put it past Dallas to be able to swing it at the last moment. They're a good enough team to do that, but San Francisco Shock has done a very good job of being efficient with their ultimate usage here too. So they still have the Primal Rage, they still have the Rally, they've got a lot of ways to just buy time, and at the very least, send Dallas into overtime when they do take the point.
So Fuel have been waiting a very long time. This EMP has been in the bank so long it has accrued interest.
Yeah.
Is Doha going to find a good EMP? The Bionade already puts Fuel in a bad spot. EMP comes out. It takes away Smurf. Smurf can't primal.
Okay.
That's actually quite good.
Yes.
Choi about to get demeched. The EMP, wait, he got healed. Choi is not getting demeched just yet. Meanwhile, Fearless gets caught. All that juggling and still hit. Meanwhile, Smurf is about to be done. The Molten Core going to buy time on the point. Smurf coming back in with the primal. Now Nero just hanging here to the back. Smurf gets slept on entry, still can't get angry, but the Fuel find themselves off the point. Overtime in progress. But Sparkle has the blade. Is it going to be enough? Gets one. Looking for two. Sparkle has two. Is there three? Looking for Choi. Choi gets the health pack. And now the Fuel, though. More room on the point. The Graviton's good to go. It's not over yet.
Yeah, pretty clutch blade for Sparkle, and that may seal the deal. That's a great Graviton Surge just to keep people off the point. That said, not even 2 ticks taken yet by the Dallas Fuel. They've got one more fight that they have to contend with here. I don't think Shock is going to get a good fight, though.
Not looking like it.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay. Well, Dallas Fuel at least able to complete a little bit less on the time bank, but they get the job done.
The 113 to the 1 minute, aside from any coincidental, relation to other things you've seen on the internet, doesn't amount to a whole lot in the big scheme of things here as far as advantages go. I mean, there's a world where, Shock gets a little bit more time on a point fight if their first fight is a disaster. But other than that, very close to Anubis so far, and going to be even closer as we race to the conclusion.
Wow, 70 million Overwatch bucks to capture Anna.
Wow.
Good to know.
I mean, with the rate of inflation, does that mean that you might be able to afford an apartment in LA for a month. I don't know. It's
Nah, you just buy skins.
What does the
with it,
future
man.
look like?
Attackers incoming.
Just skins.
Yeah.
All right, well, Hanbin really was the one to close this out here. Good grab, just keeping people over on the bridge, and fully charged up, so doing plenty of damage with this too.
Yep. But
There you go.
the Shock now on the defense once more, and going for a more dive-heavy defense, going with the Winston Diva. Meanwhile, Fuel gonna be much the same. No Pharah in sight for either team here. The skies are gonna be clear. It's gonna be fought on the ground.
Yep. All right, Ans already watching that doorway, ready to flashbang anyone that comes through. Watching both doorways now as Shock rotates back around to the right side.
Ah, yes, On's the door, man. Well, a quick shield break. Going Winston, get that bubble out of here. Looking for the On in the back. Not quite gonna find it.
Yep. That's a good thing to know, too. If you're a McCree player annoyed by shields, the combo of right-click, roll to reload, and then, have the ability to immediately start firing again or finish off the shield. It's good,
Well, the Fuel
good little
going again.
skill to have. Yep.
Nero, meanwhile, on top of the Tracer, looking for the dive in. Ons continuing the fire away, looking for any space he can get, but he can only back up so much. Twilight close to the Nano, but guess what? The Fuel already have it. Fearless moving in off the Nano. Smurf is down, and Fearless for another jump. Gonna find Violet, and the Fuel.
Wow.
They're gonna get point A.
They are indeed. Yeah, Shock not going to be able to stop them from taking this, and it was another great nano boost onto Fearless, and we wondered why the nano didn't go onto the Genji last time, and it's because 3 out of 4 nanos that they put on Fearless have worked out very well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough call. I mean, even if Nano Blade is kind of the classic, it's also at times harder to contain a Nano Winston if played properly. But here we go. 17 seconds left for the Fuel. On the setup, the Shock have a Nano in reserve. Oh, Dohan nearly falls before getting EMP. That would have been huge. 9 seconds.
All right, there's the EMP. Nero with the pulse bomb, gonna get the stick. Ooh, gets
the
checked.
stick
That's
on
gonna have to be a
Kexa.
5v6 for Dallas.
Meanwhile,
Sleep.
the EMP got much
Easy
of all.
kill to Fearless. Yep.
Fearless out of the fight, and the Shock, a complete rejection of the Dallas Fuel here on point B. The bomb from Sparkle, desperately trying to keep it alive, but I got bad news for you, Sparkle. Your team has deserted you. You are but alone, and the point goes around.
Yep. So good point B hold, just getting a couple crucial picks. Sleep Dart from Violet helped a lot, from Twilight helped a lot
Switching sides.
in terms of denying the engage completely. So they did lose a point, but Dallas feels still in a good spot to win this one if they can get that good hold on point A.
Yep. But now, you look at the Shock. Getting through A and B here in a minute 13, not at all necessarily guaranteed. It took them a lot longer, of course, on their first attack to do just that. Now, they don't have to get a full cap on the point B. They just need 33% to win the match. But this is one of those classics here where it's very drawable. Also, though, still winnable for the Fuel if they're able to put together a good defense on point A, which, of course, they did the first time around.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, out of the two teams, the Shock were the team that struggled a little bit more on the offense for point A, that is. A little bit. But it's anyone's game. These teams have been playing pretty close so far today.
The Fuel swapped
Dallas
up, though,
is
and I
map
like
pick.
it. The Fuel opened their last defense with the Pharah, and now the Shock, you take a look at them opening with Pharah of their own, they're expecting to see a Pharah from the Fuel. The Fuel have a bit of an advantage here because, on the attack, you don't know what you'll face in the defense. You only have so much time. So the Fuel have changed things up. The Shock are expecting the Pharah again, and they're not going to see it.
Well, they'll see their own Pharah, but they might swap off it pretty quick. Not still in
like
the
that's-
McCree, yeah, Nero, yeah, there's the swap to the door. Okay, they're going for it. Smurf on the Reinhardt, too, so it's hammer time.
Beauty.
Worth noting here that I don't know if he meant to place a turret there, but maybe he was thinking there would be a little bit of pressure from the back.
I mean,
think so, given the-
yeah, I guess if you're getting flanked by the Sombra, that's going to be maybe a little bit helpful, but then again, he could have thought he was Soldier 76. Soldier 76. Why was that so hard to say for a moment and try to dash?
Well, 30 seconds left. The Shock have spent a lot of time on the setup. They paid a hero tax penalty just to swap to a different comp. So it is one fight either way. The Fuel, look at the ult, the Shock being very slow, very methodical as they try and get towards that point. If they can't get set up here, their comp has a bit of an advantage.
Nice attempt by Ons with the flashbang. Yeah.
The Nano's built.
All right. Nano time.
Fearless just walks in. This is what we saw before, a little bit of rumble in the room. Is it going to be enough? No, no, Smurf Fire Strike finds Jexa. They're able to contain Fearless. Fearless can't turn the tide. And instead the Shock, they saw it coming a mile away. They had the answer, and now they get a great attempt at point B.
30 seconds.
San Francisco Shock ready for them that time. A couple ultimates coming on board for San Francisco soon. Dallas Fuel will not have theirs. They will have the Primal Rage though, so plenty of time to stall this out. That said, it's only the first tick that the Shock need to win the map.
It's not a full capture. It means if you have to play this a little bit differently in defense. Sparkle eating a big hit early on. Still alive. Pulse bomb built. On the hunt. Looking. Is he going to let fly? No, not just yet. Smurf meanwhile under pressure. Smurf super low. Drops the shatter. Under pressure. 2 down. Fielder ejects and the support line for the Fuel is gone. And now the Shock nearly there, Doa. Overtime ticking down, but the Shock have a full 6 and the Fuel are decimated. The Molten Core. It's going to be a victory lap here for Nero. And that's going to be it. The Shock take Anubis.
That's right. Remember, that was Dallas's map pick, but the Shock able to win it in the end. They're going to go up 2-0 in this series. And if you're Dallas, you might start to get a little bit worried here.
Yeah, particularly, arguably for a lot of the series, I think Dallas is playing Anubis better, but especially with how well Hamdan was playing. But in the end, it wasn't enough. The Shock came through where it mattered most, and now the Fuel, they want to stay alive here in the Countdown Cup. If they do, in fact, want to go to Hawaii for another time, well, they're going to have to reverse sweep.
Yep, that's right. I do love the Nero Torbjorn, though. It was impressive on the attack for sure. And I continue to be impressed by players that can actually make the Torbjorn work.
Yeah, I mean, the Torb is something that we're seeing more and more being used by the teams, and for good reason. I think the hero plays a great role, especially with the fact that a lot of hit scan presence has been nerfed.
It certainly does. We are ready to take our break now, and when we come back, we will see if Dallas Fuel can get a little bit of momentum going in the series, or if San Francisco wins it 3-0. Don't go anywhere. The Overwatch League returns right after this.
No.
오케이. 오케이. 굿.
디반들 나이스. 나이스. 솜브라 트레이스 노리콜. 디바. 나이스. 나이스 요빈이 형.
나이스. Let's go. 얘들아.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, you know what? The Overwatch League skins from the past seasons have returned. Now is your chance to get one of your favorite previous legendary skins. The vault is open through August 24th, and skins can be redeemed for 200 League tokens, which can be earned by linking your account on YouTube. I actually just went back yesterday and got the Goat Brigida. I didn't have that one yet.
Oh, yeah. I went back and grabbed some of them, too. Even though for a lot of them, they're not heroes I play a whole lot, it's like, well, it's in front of me, and I forgot to get it the first time. So, you know what? Why not? Add it to the list.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. If you're a collector completionist for skins like a lot of people are, it's a good weekend. Got a sub, too. Glister in for Ons on the San Francisco side. And Super back in for Smurf as well.
The Shock tank shuffle continues. Super back in, Smurf out. It's just a thing with the Shock. And it's gotten more intense, I feel like, as time has gone.
Yeah, we're going to Blizzard World for our third map. It's going to be another choice by the Dallas Fuel as they lost Temple of Anubis. It was close, but San Francisco able to come out ahead on that one. And I wonder too. It does feel like Dallas is putting everything they've gotten to this one, and they just haven't been able to quite close out these games yet. No Pine sub either. Don't know if we're going to get to see it this series or not. I think everybody would love to, but I think Dallas wants to win this one.
I get the feeling that if you didn't see Pine in the games that were losable without losing the series, I doubt they would put Pine in this map or any of the maps yet to come, right? Because that'd be the worst thing you do, where it's like, yeah, Pine's been in the league before, but it's been a long time, and I don't think there's a worse way to re-debut a player than to throw them in a match and then have that match be lost. Now, obviously, if they came back and they won the match because Pine was awesome, yeah. If they came back and Pine won the match because he was awesome, sure, why not? But that's a lot of pressure to put on a player when you're trying to, reintroduce him to the league. So I don't know. I don't think we're seeing Pine today.
That's a major question. Yeah, I mean, what state is Pine in right now in his play? Like you mentioned, it has been a while. He just got to the U.S. from what I understand, and so the practice time with the team, has been pretty limited, unless they were doing some kind of high ping, cross the ocean practice, right? So, I think it'd be tough to throw him in so early, but doesn't mean we wouldn't want to see him play.
5, 4,
All right, so the Shock setting up for their attack. I don't think it's going to be a Hog Orisa, but you never know. What's it going to be? Widow? Hog? Orisa? Sim? There's no swaps?
Oh, I like that. That was a nice little move.
Yeah, there are swaps.
Yeah, I like these little Symmetra moves that send the Widowmaker up onto the high ground unexpectedly to maybe get a little bit of a pick if the shields are lazy on the defending side. San Francisco doesn't find those picks, though, and so they will be pushing in again with the Torbjorn.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, Nero on the Torb so far. It's been a good look. I think it's been very effective. The slow push has been troublesome for Fuel to deal with. And right now we just look at Doha on the Hangzhou again. Higher risk, high reward, looking for arrows put over the top. And that's a nice arrow on the Super to start things out. Good tank pressure from the Fuel.
Yeah, so the Fuel's tank's a little bit separated from the rest of the team. Violet has to put the shield up, but it's not going to last long against the Storm arrows. Gets behind the pillar just in time. But Doha putting a lot of pressure on early with the arrows.
Yeah, and he's been doing a lot of it for free. Finally, has a little bit of pressure from Glister onto the side, but here we go. Again, Nano built real fast. Wow. Fearless dives in, opens up Doha to find the arrow from the back. However, so far it's only 5 on 5.
Yeah, kills on both sides. It was an incredibly fast nano boost from Fielder. That was very impressive. Oh, here comes the Dragon Strike. Only the turret via the Storm arrows is the victim there.
The Immortality Field keeps alive. Glister picks up 2. However, Fearless found more room to get to the back line. Real close to a Primal Rage, but Torb denied. Doha just lays the arrow in his face, and all in all, a close fight, but one that the Fuel win.
Yeah, that was one where San Francisco is right on the verge of tipping the fight in their favor. They did manage to get a tick out of it, so at least you've got some progress there. But we're coming up on the ults being available for both teams here. San Francisco is going to have the Deadeye, the Torbjorn Ultimate Molten Core to worry with, or to not worry about, but to use. Supercharger going to be helpful too.
All right. Molten Core, good to go. And once more, Nero going to go to the side. Plays a decent amount onto point, gets thrown to Vax. Glister finds Sparkle, a nice little shot. Shock up 2 so far in this fight. Nothing too crazy about the entry here. Just solid, slow play. Deadeye from Glister. Looking. Oh, the Dragon eats them all up. The Dragon off the grab. from the side. Suddenly winnable for Dallas, but not one yet.
Yeah, maybe not winnable at all as Fearless and Hanbin both go down. With no tanks, it'd have to be an amazing play from Sparkle and Fielder to make this happen, and they're just going to back away. I think that's a wise move. The payload will get moving for San Francisco.
It's so rare to see what we're seeing in Overwatch, where you see well-executed plays coming out from both teams at the same time, leading to lower number of fights where you don't feel like either team really made a big mistake. Just, oh wow, that was a good play, and that was an even better play, and it just keeps trading back and forth. This has been joyous to watch.
Absolutely. Sparkle with the swap once more onto Genji. You know, we've seen many times now that they're willing to just have him use his blade without needing the nano boost, but it is there in case they do decide to go that way. Window comes in for San Francisco Shock just to try to create a little bit more space to push that payload.
And they'll get some space out of it. The Fuel, meanwhile, go, all right, well, we're not really going to challenge the window straight on, but what if we fight in the arcade? An old 1994 brawl coming in here. Those were my corners on the arcade
Very
machine.
specific
year.
Yeah.
Like
get away from the Primal Rage machine. Oh, meanwhile, a little bit of stealth pushing going on here.
No.
Not like this.
You got
Not
the
again.
No.
They got it. It was all a clever ruse, ZP.
Oh, boy. Well,
it's called a misdirection. All part of the illusion.
Yep, is what I'm about to say of that. Also, the Shocker get cleaned up towards the end, but and a hammer.
I don't even know what to say about that. It's even the best teams suffering from the stealthy plays of opponents sneaking
There's a
objectives.
pattern. It's fight in room, off to the side, forget point exists, lose point. It's an easy multi-step formula. Well,
grab.
Here we go. Multi-core coming out here from Nero. Hanbin off to the side. Dragon Strike over. Not going to do too much this time. The Immortality Field from Twilight was massive in keeping the Shock alive. And now Fearless goes Primal. A little bit more disruption here. Glister, though, doesn't care. Fearless is nearly dead. He is dead.
Wow. Not bad. Shock was very ready for that, and if Fearless's Primal Rages can't get anything accomplished, then Dallas is in really big trouble because they rely on that so much. Sparkle, who went for the kill, couldn't secure it. In fact, Violet comes in, takes him down. Super needs to back away here. All right, there we go. Behind the shield safe.
There's almost nothing the Fuel can do to bring this back. Everyone's dead except Fielder, and that's it.
Oh. All right, clean from San Francisco, able to push that all the way through at 2:48 left in the time bank. That is a great attack round for the Shock.
I love the San Francisco strategy of staying on the point while the other team doesn't get on the point. It's great. It's my favorite thing in all of Overwatch.
You know, that point B, at least I feel like it was a little bit more honest, right? Where, you know, it's. Oh, and that's very cool. If you don't know what that is, go and read that on Blizzard World. I believe it was a card from Mike Morhaim's parents to him about a loan they gave him to start Blizzard way back in the day. Definitely go read that. A lot of cool history in that room, by the way. Anyway, I digress. The reason I'm not feeling as bad about that quote-unquote C9 was because the Shock did such a good job of misdirecting the Fuel into that side thing. It wasn't like they just forgot to get on the point. They were purposefully and skillfully misled by the Shock in that scenario, so I like that. That was a nice
play. The Shock certainly had something to do with it, but at the end of it, that wasn't just the Shock on the point. It was a car crash in slow motion.
Yeah, I mean, oh, okay, maybe on a second look, that's not as impressive. I try to find the silver lining, ZP. I try to be a beacon of positivity in this land of unfortunately missed objectives. But
you know what?
There's only so much I can do.
That silver lining had a tornado going through your cornfield, Doa, so how do you feel about that? That's all, guys.
It's a giant Hulk ZP in my cornfield, yeah.
Well, here we go. The Fuel on the attack once more, and a large time bank staring in the face. They need to finish with at least 1 second remaining on the clock. We want to keep this a contest. A quick teleport onto the top.
Turrets
with
everywhere.
The Doom. Is it going to be enough? The shots are still healthy.
In your face.
Choi, though, not so much.
Are they?
Oh, Sparkle cursing the invention of jet boots, perhaps.
Yeah, they're tough to use. Just ask the Mario brothers. If we're talking 90s.
Yeah, we are.
Talk about. All right, Dallas, trying to clean up.
They just about have this.
They will?
I'm not even sure Shock are going to come back in for a recontest. I'm not sure they can, and no,
They should.
wisely, they're staying back up point.
Yeah. All right, well, great start for the Fuel. But they need to keep the momentum going if they want to contest Shock long-term on this map and get back into the series.
Yeah, I mean, for the Fuel, this is step one, right? They essentially have to speed run to keep this in contest. Even if the Shock have one of the worst defenses of all time, they're still fine with the result. But here we go. Shatter comes in from Super. Ball through. Sparkle ends up falling. Gets caught by Nero on the side.
Okay.
Twilight down. 5-on-5. Window forcing the Fuel to back up here. So not a picture-perfect engage from either team. But Glister somehow finds Fearless.
Wow.
Well,
It wasn't the greatest shatter. I think it was mostly blocked by Fearless, but the follow-up from Shock was just a little bit too much damage to handle. And so Shock has a good hold at the moment. It's a little bit tough to hold right here because you've got high ground where you can be jumped down on. Not to mention the flank from behind that like Glister's in danger of. They're just going to rush forward though on the Shock side.
Well,
Drop the Earth Shatter. That one doesn't get a whole lot done either.
Yeah, Super goes, you're going to block me, I'm going to block you. And the Earth
what a
remained
Reinhardt
intact
does.
this day. Also, what's remaining intact is the hold right now for the Shock. The Fuel have been held at this point for quite a while. Now looking for a different teleport engage, still on the sim.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to find some way where you're jumping down from the flank like this that the Dallas Fuel are doing. You can't just walk down the ramp into that like we saw them try. Unlikely to work.
This is a game of rotations that favors the Shock because time is running off the clock. Sparkle goes for the engage, doesn't quite land, a little bit off the mark. Symmetra ult going to be dropped. Here comes the Molten Core going cross the shield line. I dare ya. And Hobby goes, I'll cross it over here to the side. It's actually totally fine, as it turns out.
Yep, totally open. Well, Fielder finds a kill on his counterpart Twilight here, so a good start for Dallas Field to continue pushing this. And I really love the way they're using this Symmetra. Oh, look at that beautiful teleport right behind the Dallas team into the grab. Couple kills come through for Shock, but not enough to turn the tide, and that was a really nice fight from Fuel.
Yeah, the problem I have with this is that it was a nice fight, but it's one of those things you waited a real long time for, and something quick and dirty might have been better. They spent a lot of time for it, and that's a credit to the Shock. One more fight left, though, for point B.
Yeah, I suppose. Better late than never, you know?
Lister hanging here in the back, Deadeye at the ready. Shock with a lot that can invest in this next fight, and Doha! Just picked from afar. And now the Deadeye still hanging in the balance for Blister, and they don't even need to use it here. The Fuel gets stuck waiting again. Maybe. I would guess yes, but Doha might say no. I think they want to do rotations with the Doom and the Rhine.
I mean, I think when you're using the Reinhardt, especially on this map in this situation, you want to be able to make plays that put the Rhine right on top of the enemy team. Sparkle doing his job to get right on top of the enemy team too. And all right, so line up. Yep, just escapes with it instead.
Now Sparkle looking for another punch. Oh, Super! Hits the stall, broke his back in one punch.
Yikes.
Fielder on the finish there. And now the Fuel with an edge. Super's out of the fight. Sparkle still dancing to and fro, gets a shield. Meanwhile, Nero finds Jexa. Blister again, finding these shots in the flank. Combat has to use the grab that was built up. Has to be invested here for point B. Doha starting to beam it down, but Violet right on top of him. This Blizzard Doha, it's going to chill the rest of the fight.
Yeah, it does push the Dallas Fuel back at the very least. Fearless goes down as he tries to charge to safety. And again, this hold for the San Francisco Shock is starting to get pretty concerning for the Dallas Fuel, because even if you do take point B now, you're going to be seriously lacking in time bank for what tends to be a more difficult point to take in point C Blizzard World.
Yeah, and also, I mean, don't forget the Shock are up 2 maps. The Fuel are potentially just 2 fights away from being eliminated from the Countdown Cup here and now, barring something huge. Symmetra, though, going to be opening the fight. Blister, Deadeye splits the difference! Catches Hanbin, shield or no? And what a pickoff from Blister, as the Fuel now see their window fade away, see their moment of opportunity get way rougher as Super. Doha, he's looking for it. The Shatter's ready. He has the brig in his sights. Drops the Shatter. Knocks 2 to ground.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to swing right on in, but has to go back on over. Not quite over yet.
Hey, that's a great example of not forgetting about the payload, right? got a couple of kills, didn't decide to overchase, went right back to the point. Can they keep him alive, though? This is looking dangerous.
The window comes out. The Fuel still have a lot of pressure to throw onto point, even as Humbic gets demeched. A little bit of games in the arcade. Skee Ball machine has never been deadlier, but the payload, it's almost there, 0.59. The Shock contest the point to and fro. Twilight finds Fearless. The Shock by 2. Oh, yet another Simult. The shields keep on coming, but the bombs keep on dropping. Jexa gets hit by Choi. And the Shock continue to hold off the Fuel here at point B. Only 15 seconds remain. This could be it for the Fuel in the Countdown Cup.
This is an incredible hold by San Francisco, and they get Fielder at the end. Oh, that's devastating. If there's any fight, it has to be shorthanded. Sparkle 4% away from the Blizzard. If they can chase him down, they can deny it. Oh, no one touches! No one touches! And that's how it ends, ZP. San Francisco with the 3-0. Wow. Not the series we were expecting.
Not at all. I mean, going into it, I did expect Shock to win. I did make the bold prediction in the very beginning going, hey, I think this is going to be Shock Ascendant. And yeah, the Fuel, like we noticed, they do have had the ability to take a little bit more time off, but you still got to respect what the Shock are putting down right now, Doa. They look fearsome.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, this isn't a bad thing for the Dallas Fuel that much. You miss out on the Countdown Cup tournament for sure, but now you have all this time going into the postseason to study, to get ready, to train, right? So that may end up paying off in the end, you know? That said, San Francisco clearly coming in here wanting to win this one today. They're moving on.
Yeah, I mean, Shock getting hot at the right time. It's a theme across all sports. And look, this is when you want to see your team peak, right? Doing well in the regular season, doing well, you know, in the Overwatch perspective in the midseason tournaments, yeah, you feel good about it. But you know what feels even better? Being a good team when it matters most. And if you're a Shock fan, you should feel revitalized because the Shock have the potential to go far in the Countdown Cup, and that is momentum that will carry them into the playoffs proper.
Yep, that's right. So I think if you're a fan of both teams, honestly, you have some stuff to be excited about, right? Where obviously San Francisco winning 3-0, Dallas, a lot to look forward to in the postseason. Let's check out our player of the match. It is going to be the one, the only, Nero DPS extraordinaire, Torbjorn extraordinaire, building them up and taking them down, as it were. Here are some Tracer highlights as well. I saw a lot of highlights, a lot of different changes.
We talked about in the preamble, but I really think when you look at the ascendancy of the Shock right now, you know, I mentioned two key pieces, and I do think Nero is one of the biggest parts of that, where I don't know, I feel like he was still finding his place in the Shock earlier in the season, of course, new to the team, off of the Charge from last year, but he's really developed both his Tracer and now his Torb into a force to be reckoned with, and it's something that if this meta is able to be played as it is going into the playoffs proper, I think the Shock can be a threat to any team in League, and yes, that includes the Shanghai Dragons.
Wow, now that's a bold statement. I mean, Shanghai's been looking pretty untouchable, but if anybody's going to give them a hard time, I think Nero could certainly be one of those individuals. I'm really looking forward to watching the Countdown Cup, actually. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But the thing is that we still have 2 more matches today. We're not done by a long shot. You and I are done, but we've still got some exciting games coming up. We got Toronto Defiant going to be taking on the Atlanta Reign after this. And don't forget, the interview coming up as well. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, lots more Overwatch League. Have a good time. Enjoy it. We'll see you next time.
나 못 가.
아, 몇
나 필이야.
They failed. Nice.
나 필이야. 나 필이야.
May under. Make can't come here. Make can't come here. Oh, Diva touching. I mark. I want me on. Nice.
Good shit. 나이스 스위치 메인. 자리 일어나지 마요.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. We're joined now by Twilight from San Francisco Shock. Hi, Twilight. Twilight 선수 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
Congratulations on the win. Now, I'm just going to jump right into the questions. Of course, there are more matches to be played for the San Francisco Shock, but since we are done with the regular season, as a two-time champion, I feel like there is a lot of pressure from not just fans, but I imagine also from the team to perform. Did you and your team, in your eyes, did you and your team sort of meet your own expectations? 첫 번째 질문은 지금 이제 아직 경기가 다 끝난 건 아니지만 지금 이제 이번 시즌 정규 시즌 경기들이 다 마친 상황에서 또 센쇼기 두 번이나 우승을 했고 그렇기 때문에 좀 어느 정도 좀 부담감 같은 게 조금은 있을 것 같아요. 그렇기 때문에 저 이제 또 트와일라이트 선수 개인적인 생각에 좀 어느 정도 이번 정규 시즌에 좀 뭐 팬들뿐만 아니라 자기 자신에 대한 좀 기대에 좀 부응을 했다고 보시나요?
일단 이번 시즌 성적만 놓고 보면은 굉장히 잘했고 좀 나쁘지 않았다 생각하는데 이제 매번 중요한 토너먼트 때마다 떨어져가지고 하와이를 한 번도 못 가서 그게 굉장히 아쉽고 이제 목표가 있다면 우승이랑 이번 토너먼트에서 꼭 하와이를 가는 게 목표라고 생각합니다. 그랜드 파이널 우승이요.
You know, if you're just looking at the pure scores and how the matches were played out for our team, I don't think we had a bad season overall. I believe that we were pretty good overall if we just look at the scores. But of course, because for the important matches going into Hawaii, we sort of couldn't win those important matches. So the fact that we couldn't go to Hawaii, that was a little bit of a sad moment for me personally. So my goal going on for the rest of the season is, of course, to go for the three-peat, but not only that, to clutch a win for the Countdown Cup and go to Hawaii and win the Countdown Cup as well. Very well said. Thank you so much. All right, final question for you. This is. Sorry, what was my second question? There it is. All right, second question. You're going up against the LA Gladiators next. Which a team? You know, they are a team that looked pretty dominant in the Countdown Cup. Did you see any weakness in the Gladiators? Did you study up on them? And what are your thoughts? 자, 두 번째 질문은 이제 글래디에 대한 질문입니다. 이제 다음 경기가 이제 글래디와의 경기가 될 텐데, 요즘 글래디가 굉장히 좀 좋은 모습을 보여주고 있고 굉장히 잘하는 팀인 것 같아요. 이번 카운트다운 컵 토너먼트에서 트와일라이트 선수가 보시기에 좀 어느 정도 어떤 약점 같은 게 있으신지 아니 좀 개인적인 생각은?
일단 글래디도 요즘에 굉장히 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하는데 뭐 저희 팀도 지금 굉장히 잘하고 있어서 저희 팀도 충분히 이길 수 있다고 생각합니다.
I mean, Gladiators are a really good team, but San Francisco Shock, our team, is a really good team as well. So I think there is a good chance that we could win. If you could predict the score, I just gotta follow up with this. What do you think the score is gonna be? San Francisco Shock against Gladiators.
경기가 그렇게 막 쉽진 않을 것 같아서 그래도 한 3대1이나 3대2. 네.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be an easy win for the San Francisco Shock, so I'm going to predict 3-1 or 3-2, somewhere really close in between that. All right, Twilight, thank you so much for the time. This is I'm going to end the interview here, and good luck with your next match.
네.
네,
감사합니다.
알아들으셨죠? 네, thank you so much. All right, let's head back to the desk.
Thanks a bunch, Twilight. Danny, of course, thank you so much for conducting the interview and translating it for us. And congratulations to the San Francisco Shock, who are now moving on to face off against the Gladiators in order to get that coveted ticket to go to Hawaii. And as we just heard from Twilight himself, like that's definitely something they feel like they missed out on. And I love that they're motivated to, you know, not just get into the playoffs and everything, but they do want to have that Hawaii experience as well and measure up against the Eastern region.
I think everyone wants to go to Hawaii. So,
yeah, I'm alright actually. I mean, I've been there.
I know you've been there. I know Danny's been there.
I want to go to Hawaii. Oh,
a lot of people want to go to Hawaii.
So Hawaii was pretty nice, right? So
it was pretty nice. It was very nice actually. No, but like I think, you know, like other than obviously you are in paradise, which is great. There's also the aspect of being able to measure yourself up against the best in the East as well, which you can't underestimate. I think that is actually a very valuable experience for a lot of those teams. And so far, a lot of teams obviously had missed out on that because it's always Dallas, isn't it? Well, not this time. It was a convincing victory for the San Francisco Shock going up against the Dallas Fuel. It was a very good look, frankly. Should that make all of us just very excited for their next bout against the Gladiators, which I hope is going to be a lot closer?
Oh yeah, the next match is going to be an absolute banger because San Francisco Shock looked to be on form. I don't think they were really tested against the Dallas Fuel today, but they looked good with everything they were planning on doing. They still relying on Arns and Glister to play on those hit scan rolls. They played a little bit of Sombra, but it wasn't, that inspiring, and I think they're going to try and shy away from that style of playing the game. But they look very nice when they play behind their shields of either the Reinhardt or the Orisa. Nero going over to that Torb, which is unironically very, very good. And I think it's just really awesome to see the Shock sort of, I guess, hitting their stride going into the playoffs. On the other hand, though, the Dallas... Also, this was just tragic. This is just... You could tweet from the payload on this one. But yeah, I think the Dallas Fuel... We don't know what their plans were and that kind of stuff, but they just weren't the Dallas Fuel that we know and love. Obviously, they didn't look anywhere near as refined as we usually see them. They didn't look as comfortable in the meta. When they lost Temple of Anubis, I thought that was pretty much the beginning of the end. Dallas Fuel being so dominant on that map with their Winston Ana, but even the San Francisco Shock were able to break through that. So good looks for the San Francisco Shock. How far are they going to be able to run it? Should we start getting hyped up on the three-peat? And is Danny going to be right with his hot take from the beginning of the season?
Oh, it's true. There's still that on the line as well.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Reinforce, you had a rough go as well with your predictions today. But honestly, like as much as anyone would like to mock him, I can't. I respect it because this is the only way you can catch up. You have to come in with risky picks, and this is the last opportunity to do that.
Sure,
So,
and I mean, when they
fine.
did play Farah Sombra, they had a team fight win rate of like 3 wins to 1 loss. So when they swapped off of that and played Hangzhou and Zarya instead, like it was 2017, didn't go too well. But when they played what I wanted them to play, it went kind of well. So in my heart, it's a win, even though they lost 3-0.
That's really what we're playing for.
My heart,
Your heart.
but at least that's how I feel.
Now, guys, I want to take a look at the updated bracket. So let me just summon them in. Oh, there we go. Haha, still works. Still got it. That's Genie, anyone? No, okay, that's cool. You're all too young. That's fine.
All the top 4. Saints made it.
Yeah, this is a first. I think this is a first one. Like, I don't think we've ever had. Usually, Dallas Fuel gets number 6 seed and then just comes first. So, it's a nice change of pace.
It really is. No blues in this time around. Gladiators is the closest we can get to a blue team. This is going to be really exciting, at least the lower part. I do think that Atlanta Reign are going to have the upper hand in this bout against the Toronto Defiant because, yes, Toronto won. However, it felt shaky though, like that was not a clean affair, and Atlanta Reign has been playing very, very clean. But I do want to take a look at those predictions to see where everyone here on the desk is standing for that very match.
Reinforce?
So let's just bring him up. Let's show him. I think I'm actually starting. And I think this is just for this one. Yeah, it's just for this one.
This one?
Why do you even ask me? Just lock Atlanta. Like I don't. What do you want? What do you want from me? I'm wearing colors already as well. Like I came prepared for this one. And I think Atlanta Reign have just been. It's weird, isn't it? It's the most biased thing you will ever see. And I'm not ashamed of it. Not very Swiss neutral, but they are the better team, and they have been so dominant this entire stage. Like there's no reason to pick against them. They've not given us a reason to pick against them.
Yeah, see? Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's all you
my
need to say?
answer.
Okay. You can go over to me now, and you can keep Danny in the background. You can keep him there because I'm also going for the Atlanta Reign as he flaps to the moon. I agree with what Zoe said. I think they are the better team. Toronto Defiant have been good, not good enough to beat Atlanta Reign.
Here's the thing, though.
Johnny,
No, Johnny.
Don't do it.
Let's go, Mr. Reinforce.
No, I'm going with Atlanta. Okay, I'm humbled.
There we go.
I'm humbled. I will say, Tracer Sombra is like the meta, though. And if Nice is going to play some Farah as well, maybe there's a chance. We've seen what the APAC teams can do on the Sombra and the Tracer. Lastro, he plays a ton of Sanyara, which is really good when you're far away and can just like shoot orbs at the enemy tanks. So, Toronto Defiant, I like what they're playing. I like the meta. I think their execution is kind of there, but they're not a top 2 team in the region, and that's why you gotta go with Atlanta because they look so impressive in the qualifier matches.
Absolutely. You know who else is always looking impressive?
In the backline?
No one?
I can hear him chuckling.
I don't know. Yeah, I hear them.
Chuckling in our ear. That would have been a great transition to you, Brennan Sideshow, wouldn't it?
I thought it was good.
What was wrong with it?
I was like,
what was wrong with it?
Nothing wrong with it.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like the desk wasn't on board with that one. They knew
couldn't wear the
they
part.
knew you guys are coming up. You were in the second screen, so I hope one of them would, jump on it. I laid it all out. I did my job, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you did 0.5. You did the setup of the host job.
I really did.
And then it's on the desk to transition. That's how it normally works, right?
Yeah.
We got some great games, though. I am amazed, like you lot said, that 1 through 4 seed have all made it through. I'm also thinking it's kind of likely that number 1 and number 2 seed go through as well. Am I just... maybe... There's got to be an upset somewhere, sure.
No, I agree with you, but looking at Toronto Defiant, I know you've studied the APAC region as well, Sideshow. Do you not think there's a chance with Sombra Tracer, like we've seen Fitz and Profit, EQO and Carpe, the APAC region, like...
Okay, Fitz, Profit, EQO, Carpe, big names, heavy hitters, been in the league a long time. Not the same caliber, I think, as like Hisu and Aspire, a bit more scrappy. Hisu's got a bit of pedigree, but Aspire's been good. But I'm not getting the same Profit and Fitz vibes. Besides which, you're saying Tracer Sombra, I'm thinking Genji Hanzo. That's what I'm concerned about coming into this game. That's what I'm wondering, is if we're going to see a repeat of that performance, because that's got me... I just don't know what's been going on in the scrap room after that match.
I tried to hype up the upset. You dismissed me entirely. Unlike your point, we were like, we gotta find an upset somewhere. I plated you the upset, and you just like threw it off the table.
I love that the only thing Bren is contributing so far is cackling in the background. That's been all you've been doing.
I haven't said a word. I was a little bit taken aback by the positive compliment transition into the casting duo, because normally you're just insulting us, and it gets thrown to us, and we just have to handle it.
Ending the season on a high note. Yeah.
I agree with the consensus that you guys have come out with.
Unlike the RSR.
I think the Atlanta Reign looked really good in the West region. Who are you insulting?
Don't rise to it. Don't rise to it.
All of us
They're trying to insult us.
You wanted us to be rude towards you, so now I'm being rude. Sideshow flipped the table.
I expected you to be rude. I didn't want you to be rude. I'm not a masochist. I'm not into it, Johnny.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was a mistake. It was an honest mistake. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm ready.
I thought you were into it. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
I'm not.
It's
Get
over.
them off. Get them out
It's
of
over.
here. Let's get the game underway. We're
I've had enough
reaching
of that.
We're reaching the end of the Countdown Cup play-ins here, and we're about to finalize our West teams that are going to be going to Hawaii as well. Some of the Toronto Defiant versus the Atlanta Reign. I think the desk has kind of teed this one up as well, in particular, quite nicely in terms of talking about the seeding and where these teams have landed. I definitely agree with them. I think the Atlanta Reign, especially the Gladiators on the other side, looking like the best teams in the West right now currently. And this match here, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Toronto Defiant, no doubt about it. But there's been some glimmers of hope, I think, in this roster in terms of how they've been playing as well. I think they've showcased that they can take down some top talent. They've done so in the past, but still, I'm not going to be calling it. I still think it's going to be really difficult for them.
It is going to be hard. I think the strengths that they can try and lean on are those that Jonathan was talking about in terms of trying to play more of the meta stuff. At least that's what we think is more likely to be meta. But actually, there's been a ton of Orisa comps being played, Rhine comps even being played. Stuff that when you looked at the hero pools didn't seem viable for the Countdown Cup. And yet it really has been. So for the Toronto Defiant, who today are going to be starting out with this delightful little roster, who I'm sure you've seen many times before, featuring Hisu and Neist, they, I think, will have their best success trying to rely on more ball comps, more of the Sombra, more of the Tracer. But I am concerned, Brent, that they're going to default back towards these kind of like Hanzo Genji things that they were trying to run previously against the Shock, because the Shock's Rhine and Orisa comps function pretty similarly to the way that Atlanta plays. They're somewhat similar in terms of their styles in the West.
Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. And I think the Toronto Defiant, when they come into matches, they definitely come into it with reasonable game plans. I think back to their match against Washington as that example, and how good Michelle was in tracking down Decay as an individual, playing the Tracer. Normally Decay's the one sole thing that the Washington look towards to kind of carry them through a game. Maybe, you know, a lot of teams they're going to be going up against, in particular the Atlanta Reign, are not going to be as one-dimensional. But they've definitely showcased, I think, that they can come into matches quite intelligently. But against the Atlanta Reign, it's going to be really difficult. And let's take a look at their starters as well. The Atlanta Reign going to be running with a pretty standard DPS line as well. As you can see, it's going to be Kai and Edison. Pelican,
I did want to
obviously, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Well, I just wanted to focus on this just for a moment as well, because Pelican recently had surgery for a pneumothorax. For anyone who's unaware, that's a collapsed lung. It's actually relatively frequent or common, you might say, among like tall young men who are relatively skinny. So we have had a number of those instances within the league as just kind of freak occurrences that occasionally happen. Apparently all the surgery went perfectly fine and he is feeling all right, but I am as yet unaware of whether or not he's going to be fielded in this game. And to start out with, they normally do run Kai and Pelican on Busan as their DPS duo. So this is a bit of a deviation away from what you would normally see, and perhaps that just means we're going to see Kai and Edison all day long.
Obviously wishing Pelican a speedy recovery with that. I mean, the surgery was a success, so I'm sure he will be playing as well at some point in the near future. And for the Atlanta Reign, they are going to be just looking to keep it all together. Kai and Edison, still not a DPS duo you're going to be scoffing at. I mean, they can still bring the pain in the map. I mean, I think if you're an Atlanta Reign fan, you're not going to be too concerned, honestly, with the comeuppance here, as we're heading into
At the same time, though, Bren, a lot of what Atlanta has been doing revolves around Pelican's Tracer, Pelican's Farah. He's the leading Rookie of the Year candidate, I would say, at the moment, and he's even got an outside shot for MVP nomination, you know? Or rather, he has got MVP nomination, and he's got an outside chance of winning it. So the Atlanta Reign are missing a key piece here in Map 1. We'll see whether that continues moving forward. And I think those are relatively big shoes for Edison to fill. We know he's a fantastic DPS player, and all right, Pelican doesn't really play the Farah here on Busan anyway. Normally just playing the Tracer. But I want to put a key focus there on that Tracer battle that's probably going to be happening between Neist and Edison. Because I think if the Toronto Defiant can get the leg up on that, if they can find that in the window there, maybe they can try and leverage it into a full-blown map upset.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's probably what they're going to be looking towards to try and catch the win here today. Teasing us early on in Busan. I mean, the Toronto Defiant, I'm not sure if they're going to be opting into this, but a bit of double bubble always on the cards.
A reminder as well there from our stats producers with that little factoid. The first reverse sweep of the season was in fact the Toronto Defiant coming back against the Atlanta Reign way early on in our 2021 year.
And here we see it, Josh. You were the one who said it when we were talking with the desk. It's the Hangzhou and the Genji as a composition that the Toronto Defiant are running, but Sano just gets obliterated almost instantly. Kai, a quick little headshot there, set up off the back of Massa. Still, Hisu's going to even things out for now, and as the turret goes down, it means that there's a bit of a small window here for the Toronto Defiant. They are just backing off, kiting towards the tunnel there, that side alley. The Atlanta Reign with a very, very defensive composition. There's the dive attempt right into the back, perfectly timed there from the Toronto Defiant. Hisu with the bubble applied to him. Oh, sorry, I should say Sado, just creating all the space they needed, completely split them up.
And Hisu does a lot of poke damage. For Gator, as he's trying to approach with his shield up, Hisu is constantly pounding storm arrows and long-range pressure from distance. And Kai will find it difficult to find those hits. Hisu can play from much further away outside of Kai's effective range.
There's an Anubis right into the back. Sado is going to be building up that Primal Rage. Offloading straight away. Just about got it off there. Yeah, the Amp Matrix almost took him out. 61 health. He's not escaping it. Edison chasing him down. Still, the Toronto Defiant play forwards. All of this going on. Hawk actually ended up eating the grab. But with the amount of ultimates that the Toronto Defiant are committing, they're going to be able to close out this team fight. The Atlanta Reign definitely punished them. It was.
That was the entire bank. They're broke. They're looking like Northern Rock in 2008. It's all disappeared. Michelle's grab got eaten up. They had to nanoplay towards the end there just to try and recover that early disadvantage that they got from Sado being melted.
There's it again, Hawk! Dude, Hawk is on fire right now. Back-to-back ults being 8. The Toronto Defiant now, we've got nothing in the tank with that. All their ultimates being used up. Obviously, the Atlanta Reign putting out the Molten Core. Safta straight into the back, but Hawk not going to be able to get back into the mech. The Atlanta Reign just need to start to focus onto this point to try and flip it over. Toronto Defiant playing back as well. He didn't lose anybody else.
You've got to ask yourself the question, is it worth it? Is it worth investing all of those ultimates so that you can maintain control? Because now you've given it over to Atlanta Reign. They can start setting up their own win conditions. Deadeye through a window can pick people in an instant. If your positioning is just off for a moment here, is that what they're going for? Nope, just the damage through it.
Yeah, the micro missiles and just the spam and the turret, why not?
Yeah.
All of it just going straight through the amp matrix.
It's everything.
They can't withstand it.
No, an absolutely immense amount of damage there being amplified by Iris. And that's a bit of a reset. Lastro apparently used Nano in the middle of that fight as well. I didn't even spot that. They all just died so quickly. And so he's had his ult reset once again.
Sleep Dawn not going to be connecting there. The Dragon Strike also did force the positioning of the Atlanta Reign, pushed them into him for a moment. Big Bionade, that's only onto Hawk though, but look at this. The pressure that they're exerting right now. The Atlanta Reign just jumping right onto them. That's where this Ryan comp really excels. I was trying to, mull over, I guess, why, the Shock and the Atlanta Reign have been running it from time to time, but it really does start to see its benefits, I guess, when you really force the positioning of the enemies and you take these favorable fights indoors where you get the healing from the Brig and the back. It all comes together when you're just swinging through them with the hammer.
Yeah, it's definitely got areas where it's hyper effective. Now you see the Defiant ult back online. Sado melted in an instant. The flashbang. Everyone focus firing him, and Nice is next from Massa's Brig Shield.
Nice is just, I don't know what he's doing. He's playing a PvE game, trying to take down the turret with the deflect. Trying to survive in the middle of it. I guess when Sado goes down, I guess you've got nothing to play for. But now we're looking at almost 90% and counting, and the Atlanta Reign pulling one old school maneuver out of playbook, just going for the old spawn camp. Is anyone even going to be able to touch this?
I don't know who would. Sado's going to have to pop his ultimate just to be able to get there.
Yeah, so he has managed to do it. The Amp Matrix up onto the window, but no one really going to be blocking that shatter. See, the bubble was applied there to Michelle and the Nano Boost, but how much can they really do? Hisu is going to have to come out with some magic here. He's already got a couple of picks. Dragon Strike into the grab, but just Michelle left onto the point. That's a quick headshot from Kai and dropping down just to try and extend the overtime. Not enough from Hisu. That's going to be the round there to the Atlanta Reign. And Josh, it almost came true as well what you were talking about when the Toronto Defiant invested all those ultimates to try and prolong out their control of the point, but then immediately lost the next team fight. It just set Atlanta Reign up beautifully on the defense.
It definitely did. It took so long for Toronto to be able to get their ult cycle back online. And the whole point of an ult cycle, of a comp like this, is that when you're in control, you can use a couple of your ults to win the fight. And those ults and that one team fight helps generate other ultimates. If you have a scenario where you're forced to use 4, 5, 6 ults, you can be very severely reset, especially when you're not using a Sombra or something like that can just win you with a single ult. That was... You could see what Defiant were going for, but the execution was not good enough at all to be able to wrench control back. They look decent when they're in defense, but on attack, they really struggled. And now they're going for something much more meta.
Yeah, the ball being played here. The Toronto Defiant side, they need to try and find these clever engages who are really getting caught off guard there by a lot of the stuns coming their way. Hawk is right up over the top of them, sealing up the damage. Recognized it though. Sado right into the back. He's going to get stunned up and destroyed. Deleted off the face of the map. The stray shots from Edison up top as well. Definitely doing enough damage to try and push them away. It's looking like the Atlanta Reign with a pretty firm control of the point and positioning right now so that they can win out this team fight. Ooh, that's quite nice.
That's a good kill. Hisu's got some nice positioning here, and Iris is under a lot of pressure too. No immortality field available, and Hisu are nice. They're running all over this. Very nice performance. Another great headshot here as well. And they've just taken the important areas of the map. The Atlanta Reign's composition has to path together. All 6 of their players really need to stay in similar areas. Whereas Toronto can spread apart. Lastro and Hisu are just going to try and avoid the Atlanta Reign and set up on the best sight lines possible. And now we get to see how good the Defiant look when they're in control of the objective.
Their opportunity. They've got ultimates as well to try and stuff them up here at the choke point with the Dragon Strike in hand. Just need to make sure the Hawk doesn't eat it. He's far enough away, won't be a problem. And here comes the Dragon Strike, Hawk eats it! I cursed it! I can see it happening though. Hawk's been doing it all series long. The guy's been an absolute menace on the D.Va. With the Ant Matrix as well in the backline, the Atlanta Reign must have enough damage for this. They're going to force out the Transcendence. Lastro just needs to try and keep his team up here. Discord Orb off onto the side there. Edison should be going down there if they can focus him, but look at that, the peel comes through off onto the side. Now Gator dropping down, that's the Shatter, dropped only onto Lastro, but that was the one target he really wanted to find, but now he's in the back line. Kai from afar with the Deadeye channeled up, gets the one, but Hisu still in this prime position from the high ground. No one to really dethrone him now. This is a really good team fight, honestly, for the Toronto Defiant with the positioning. They flipped it on its head.
They totally have. They bullied Gator, got him into a rough position, punished Kai as well, who was trying to go for a mini flank. And the Toronto Defiant, again, just spread out, bait Rain onto the low ground and take these priority positions. They do look good when they're in a defensive scenario, but they don't have access to those support ultimates. Nice again. Oh, Hawk is so aware. He is playing a fantastic D.Va. Might have to eat this pulse bomb though as well.
Yeah, needs to keep his eye on it. He knows it's coming. There's the stick. Perfect timing.
Good immortality.
Gets up, actually. Yeah, the immortality field from it. Kai with a quick little call back there to So Min Soo. Finds Anson J. They are going to be able to cap up and flip up this point. 95% is what the Toronto Defiant were able to get. On the other side of things now, the Atlanta Reign on the defense. They have ultimates as well to start rotating this around. The Toronto Defiant with this comp as well, you got to imagine as well, they have a lot of point pressure. They can start to pull the Atlanta Reign apart as well. Either the Tracer or Sado just rolling onto it. Just drawing their attention away, which could be an opening, yeah.
Good Dragon Strike here, not eaten by Hawk. This time around, they punish Kai.
Wow. Yeah, and this could be surely it for the round here. With the ultimates committed, they push right past the Ant Matrix. Iris not going to be able to shoot any bullets right through that. The South Destruct off onto the point. Edison realizing he has to take a couple of risks right into the face of Hisu. He will fall in the end to the turret, but it feels like the battle is already won as nobody's able to touch that. The Toronto Defiant taking away the round. Really well played to them, actually, recognizing really a lot of the positioning game is what was winning those team fights, despite the Atlanta Reign often getting the first pick.
Yeah, excellent response. And Defiant were mostly just in control of that objective. But the one time when they had to retake, they had a great setup. You know, they managed to get Neist and Sado in position first, and then they engaged with the Dragon Strike that forces the positioning of the Atlanta Reign and allows Neist to collapse onto Kai. So the setup is good, the thought process is there as well, getting players in the right positions and then executing based on their ultimates. I want to see them stick to this. Get rid of the Genji, don't try and go for Nano Blades. Neist on the Tracer is your key to victory here. It doesn't seem likely that Edison's matching, although he might go for it this time. No, sticking to the Torb. Yeah, Atlanta Reign do not normally do this on Busan, but they are playing a bunkery defensive look this time today.
Possibly having to adapt, I guess, to Pelican being out of the lineup.
Maybe, yeah.
Having to play around for that. See what they can do. They've already taken up positioning just behind the point, but with the turret down, it frees up Neist to just start taking his aggressive flanks now as well. He's not going to have to worry about it, just shooting him into the back. Gator with the Discord Orb on him, taking a lot of damage. He has to use that Fortify just to stay alive. But Kai, he's taking a slide-off angle here. You can see the damage he's just constantly outputting. So difficult for the Toronto Defiant to really deal with this comp. They need to set themselves up into good positions, maybe trying to engage off of the power drives. But the Atlanta Reign have so much staying power with this.
It's very consistent pressure, yeah. And even though Hisu's able to do a ton of poke himself, Gator? It's all really going into a shield. Gator's shield melted, and there it goes.
As well. Oh my god, nice. He's absolutely come alive. Gator just getting just torn down there with the Discord Orb on him. And Toronto Defiant, well, Astro, he decides we're going to invest this ult right now. We need to win this. But Michelle only just getting back into the mech. It might not be an ideal team fight to take. The Atlanta Reign, they still have enough bodies to try and contest this up. Kai with attack visor now, and he's going to start looking for that angle onto Lastro right around the corner. The follow-up might be there as well as Hawk is just leading it in, and the damage is done. That's the Atlanta Reign winning this one out, and a bit of a mistake there from the Toronto Defiant, committing those ultimates, in particular the Transcendence, to try and win that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can see why they went for it. It looked like a great opening to try and get Atlanta Reign and ship them out. The problem was really that even though Nice got so much work done, he died. And that's all of your offensive pressure disappearing. There's no one to combine with Sado. You can't blame him because he made a huge play. It's just that Toronto didn't quite have what was left in the tank.
There's a Dragon Strike Iris, oh goodness me, lays down the lamp right onto the ground so he can survive with the Molten Core and the Amp Matrix. The ults are coming together, halted right out of the line of sight, and that pillar's not going to be saving you, not when Edison's taking these angles. Supercharger's still up, they've lost way too many targets. So Toronto Defiant just going to be crumbling bit by bit. It's going to be 90% now. I'm not sure anyone from Toronto is going to be able to touch this. Sado might be around to try and at least skirt onto the point.
Yeah, they're both there. They have mines and a pulse bomb as well. They're going to be looking for it. There's Sado, rolls through, triggers OT, and Kai is on the lookout for this pesky Tracer in the back line.
Yeah, needs to be careful of this. Mines straight down, Power Driver as well, but Sado goes down. Pulse bomb's good, forces out the Immortality Field, but no one is dealing with Kai. The Helix Rocket straight to the face. Takes out Nice. A lot of the impetus of their damage there. With the overtime burning, the Atlanta Reign in control firmly in that round. And that's going to be them taking map number 1.
Great play from Atlanta. Toronto tried a variety of different things, but with limited success. I think this is an interesting beginning point for the series too, because it showcases the two styles that these teams have come in with. Atlanta, they like to favor the more defensive, bunkery, reactive compositions. The Orisa, sometimes even the Reinhardt being played. Whereas the Toronto Defiant are going to be having to look into their playbook, look into their hero pools to come up with an answer. I think this firmly sets the tone that Toronto are going to be having an uphill battle and one where they need to counter what the Reign are doing.
Yeah, I think that describes it perfectly, Josh, as well. The uphill battle for the Toronto Defiant, but we have a short break where they can mull it over and think exactly what they want to throw at the Atlanta Reign to try and deal with them. Currently leading 1-0 in the series. The Atlanta Reign looking to maybe secure an even bigger lead. We'll find out just after the break, so don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.